All right. Thought I'd give myself a little music intro. It is Friday night, and we are doing science, so I don't know what gets you more pumped up than that. So, okay, so this is what we had due Friday, which is today, but you won't be watching it today, so it's kind of weird talking to someone who's watching in the future. I want to go over the concept map. That's really my thing here, because this is where I got a lot of people with like question marks. Okay, I got a lot of turned in here, and I lacked a lot of linking words, so it's going to be good to have just a concept map right here, how to do it, because I know some people weren't even here when we did concept maps for the first time, and they're like, what's happening? Don't know this. Okay, so we're gonna knock it out right now. All right, let me erase this because I don't want to have a giant question mark in the middle of the page. But this is also an answer key video too for the top, and it's also nice to review some of the words before we get down here. So you don't know what these words mean, then you're not going to get to the map. That's why I like the map. So let me just drag it up a little bit. Here we go. Okay, so this all revolves around energy. Okay. And when I don't know how to draw anything. This creature here, you can decide what it is. All right, gets eaten by this giant creature. Makes some teeth and stuff. Okay, energy is transferred from this little guy to this big demon-like creature. And when something eats this giant-like creature, some of the energy gets transferred there. So when we're drawing arrows and food webs, it's all about energy. Okay, that's why we eat, to get energy. So when in doubt here, go with energy. That's the word of the day. What is the ultimate energy for all life on Earth? Word ultimate means, actually, that might be like, kind of maybe tough word for some people. Ultimate doesn't necessarily mean the best, but like where it comes from, the beginning. So it's the sun. Don't miss that one. Food chains start with what kind of organism? Remember, organism is a creature. It's a living thing. So don't put the sun, because the sun's not a living thing. It's very hot and big and powerful, but it's not a living thing. So we're looking for 3 maybe words here. You can go with plants if you want to keep it simple, but it's not always accurate, because there's other things that produce sunlight or turn sunlight into energy besides plants. We'll see, like, you can put cyanobacteria. Of course, Mr. Eibling, cyanobacteria. Of course I know what that is. If you do, that's awesome, but we don't all know what that is. So we can say producer, or, oh, by the way, if you're just here for the concept map, skip ahead for a little bit, all right? Because I'm going to go over this for a few minutes, and then the concept map's the big deal. Or you can put autotroph. Okay, autotroph, producer are the same thing. Auto, just think you do it automatically by yourself. Producer, you produce food. Plants do that, algae does that. Told you to cross that off. Like, Mr. Eibling, you didn't tell us that. Yeah, if you're in like my first hour, I probably didn't tell you, so sorry about that. Herbivores are also called, okay, remember, herb, plant. Plant eaters. So fancy word for plant eater, primary consumer. Primary consumers, they eat just plants. Right? What are animals called that feed on herbivores? So what's eating the thing that eats the plant? So let's say we got a bunny. I'm sorry about this. I apologize in advance. First of all, I don't even know how to draw a bunny, so I'm just going to get rabbit ears. Okay, rabbit ears. That's got tooth, the cavity. All right, bunny. That's a bunny. And it eats a little shrub, and along comes big bad wolf. Or that's actually not too bad. Looks like some sort of dog. Anyway, the dog eats the bunny. He now becomes a secondary consumer. So the answer to this is secondary consumer, because you've got your plant. This is the first eater, and he's the second eater. Name an omnivore and what it might eat. Okay, so any omnivore. We went over a few of them in class. 4th hour, we didn't really get to too many things, so I didn't give you examples of omnivores 4th hour, but we still love you. Let's pick a bear. We can eat bear. Bears eat, okay, they had a little technical difficulty. They eat plants, and they also eat, you see them fish, so that's meat, so they eat fish. We'll see a video of them ripping some salmon to shreds out of a river pretty soon. It's pretty cool. Okay, so what kind of consumer eats a secondary consumer? You'd have to go to the chart. Okay, so well, what's after second? Third. All right, third. That says third. Looks like thrick. Third. It says third. Trust me. So third. All right, you could say third level consumer, or the fancy word is tertiary. Okay, so think third. TT. We got PP for primary and plant, and we got TT here. So TT and PP. All right. Whoa, that was really crazy. I don't do that again. Yeah, that was... All right, I'm going to have to pause this thing. All right, that was really weird, but I think I'm back to normal. What feeds on herbivores? What feeds on plant eaters? Secondary consumers? You can say omnivores or carnivores. It's hard to say. Name an omnivore and what it might eat. I already did this. I'm feeling like I'm flashing back. See, all this words just went away. What kind of... Oh, man, I totally did this. All right, I'm going crazy. I need to go home. But I got to finish this. Make a food chain with a producer and 3 consumers, not from the other side. So anyone should just copy the one from the other side, okay? Producer, I don't need you to name like a specific thing like Astragalus parenthus, okay? No, I don't need a specific name for a species. You can just say, how about this? Grass. All right, keep it nice and easy. Always draw the arrow to what's eating it. Don't draw the arrow to what's doing the eating. Or you're drawing the arrow to what's doing the eating, because the energy is the arrow. So this arrow means energy. Where is the energy from the grass going? Oh, we'll do bunny. Why not? Bunny. And then what eats the bunny? An owl. Owls are pretty ferocious. So where are we at right now? We got our producer. We've got our primary consumer, Procon. We've got our secondary consumer, and we need one more, third level consumer. What's going to eat the owl? Ooh, let's go with an eagle. An eagle would probably take out an owl. It'd be savage, though. Be a good little war there. Cool. All right, now let's get to the main event. Concept map. Oh my gosh, this is really going to drive me nuts. Get off my screen, words. Okay. You can't do a concept map without knowing what the words mean. That's why I like to do this afterwards, and it really tells me how much you know about this stuff. It really does. But they're tricky. It's one of the reasons I like them. You have to think. And another reason I like them is there's no one right way to do it. Okay, everyone can do it there creatively, and you can like really go above and beyond. So if you know a little bit, you can just do the basic concept map. But if you're awesome at it, you know it, you can make a rad map. So I'll try to make a basic map, then a rad map. If you're watching this, don't just copy mine. Okay, if you got to fill yours in still, don't just copy mine. All right? I don't want you to turn it in because I really don't know if you know it or you just watched my video and just kind of copied what I had. So I want to see something a little different. It'll be similar, of course, but just make some tweaks. A lot of people have been starting off with sun, which is all good. Maybe I'll do that for simplicity. Look for your big ideas first. Sun and energy. What you want to do in a concept map is get each one of these words here in a bubble. A word bubble. So let's go with sun. And I'm going to make another bubble with energy. All right. Now, your goal, your mission is to find a relationship between sun and energy. You might think sun makes energy. Energy comes from sun. Okay, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. So you got to show it on your concept map. So you always want to draw an arrow. So remember, use linking words and arrows. Got to have those two things or you're not going to get full credit. I'll show you why in a minute. So let's just say you do this. All right, and you say no arrow, and you put sun, energy, okay, and sun makes energy. That's the way you read it, but I can't tell if you mean energy makes sun or sun makes energy. Maybe you could argue both. I don't know, some philosophical thing about suns, but you want an arrow. That tells me sun makes energy. So you want to read it like kind of a phrase. All right, you're turning it into like a paragraph in a sense. Someone should be able to read it. So that's an easy one. Sun makes energy. Okay, so now you can just think of following the energy flow. That's how a lot of people did it, and that's probably the easiest way to do it. And I also encourage you to add more words for awesomeness. So that's what I want you guys to do. If you're watching this and you didn't do one yet, I think you guys experts, I'm giving you a bunch. All right, where does the energy go from here? Don't overthink this. Energy from the sun. What kind of creature picks up energy from the sun off this list here? Hopefully you're thinking plants and not thinking like kitty cats. All right, cats don't get energy from the sun. It's always green, well, normally green things, chlorophyll, plants. So plants is not a word, but it's a word you can add. I'd like you to add plants, actually. So what word is most like a plant? You should be thinking PP. PP, producer, plant. So producer. Now we need a word here. Energy, arrow, producer. What can we use? What do you want to say? Sun makes energy, energy, arrow, producer. Let's keep it simple. How about energy goes to? You could say absorbed by, taken by, used by. Okay, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Like I like it. Let's use your own vocabulary and creativity. All right, so producer. We got our plant here. Need some more colors. I'm going to pause and try to get some green. All right, I got green now, I think. Yes. Ooh, that's pretty cool looking, like a neon green. All right, so producers. They are what? Okay, they are plants. That's not in the bubble, Mr. Eibling. I know, but the diagonal would have been real tough for me right there. All right, producers. Now, where does the energy go from producers? Where does energy go from plants? Well, plants have a lot of energy in them. All right, so something's going to want to eat them. So what's going to want to eat the plant? Animals. Good answer. So what words here describe animals that would eat a plant? So let's see. Let's cross off the ones we got. Boom, boom, and boom. All right. Consumer. So some of these words are like the same. So hopefully you realize that. And then it kind of makes for an easy map. So consumer. Consume means to eat or use. So producers eaten by consumers. Also, we can use primary consumer here in a lot of different ways. So primary consumers only eats plants. They only eat producers. You could say eaten by consumers specifically or only or mainly. Okay, mainly primary. You can put, I'd even accept just primary here because we got different types of consumers. You can put primary. That tells me consumers, mainly primary consumers. That would work for me. Okay, now somebody's going to eat a primary consumer. What's going to eat a primary consumer? Let's get it off the list. Yes, one more down. Boom and boom. Hopefully you're thinking secondary consumer. Okay, eaten by, keeping it pretty simple here, eaten by secondary consumer. There's a million different links you can make. Eaten by secondary consumer. Let's get it off there. Okay, so now we got heterotroph. Energy goes to producers. You could say energy. So I'm trying to get heterotroph. That means just something that eats something. Energy eaten. Let's say eaten energy to heterotrophs. Oh my goodness, not again. Hold on, this is going to drive me nuts. All right, hopefully it doesn't do that to me again. Eaten energy to heterotrophs. I'm not going to use heterotrophs much, I think. You know, consumer's fine for me, I think mainly. But for this point, I think we can nail it in there. Secondary. All right, is there a tertiary? I don't give you tertiary. So let's think, where can we put autotroph? Autotroph is most like what word? It's basically the same thing as saying producer. Okay, producer. The producers are autotrophs. I bet you a lot of that's what you had. Okay, arrow, Mr. Aibling, arrow. Make it green because it means it's like a plant-like thing. Coolness. I'm going to make primary too because it eats plants. Anything like it has to do with plants, I'm going to make green. It's kind of cool. All right, omnivore. Let's see. We got omnivores, reminder, omnivore. Omni means like all, everything. If you're omnipresent, you're everywhere. You're basically like some sort of godlike spirit. If you're omniscient, it means you know everything. Like me. Like I know when you're on your phone in class. You may think I don't, but well, sometimes I miss it. I'm not going to lie, but I usually get it. I just sometimes talk to you later, maybe. Anyway, I'm supposed to take it, but, you know, whatever. All right, I'm losing focus. Omnivores. Omnivores eat both. So where do we put them? Well, they eat both. That means they eat producers. That means they eat plants, and that means they also eat animals. So they eat, maybe they eat a primary consumer, like a deer. Like I said, deer are going to get eaten a lot in videos and in examples. So it's bad to be a deer in my class. I'll try to find something good about deer. Actually, we're going to kill like an entire deer population in an activity. But anyway, omnivores eat, all right, both. I made omnivores green because they eat both. I'm going to make it like blue too, so that means they eat both, you know, 2 colors there. That's kind of neat. I like doing it on this, man. I got options. Color pencils are great for concept maps. They really are. Some of you did, like a lot of you did in your personal ones, which I'm just got to hang up here in a minute, I think. Another class. I don't know which one yet. You want to do maybe 5th hour. They were a good class this week. Anyway, and carnivore. Last one. Carnivore. How do I get carnivore? So the example I've been using is, not everyone speaks Spanish, but carne is a pretty common word. Carne means meat. Like I had the carne asada burrito in my burrito experiment. So it's a meat eater. So it's not going to eat a producer. It's going to eat any sort of animal. So you could, you know what? I'm going to do this. What word on here, okay, is all animals, really. Not all animals are primary consumers. Some are secondary. So I'm going to link it to consumer. I didn't even think of doing that. I like that. Consumers, okay, so we're going to put carnivore. Carnivore, okay, eats consumers. Okay? And that gives us all the words. What I like to be able for you guys to do is make other arrows, you know, link other things that aren't just one line. So, for example, and my concept maps are never neat. They don't have, neatness does not count. So you can make primary. You can bring it all the way over here and say eats plants, okay? And there's probably a lot of other cool things you guys had that I didn't do. So hopefully this helped. Just remember, start with, do a little wrap up, right? I think that's a good idea. So start with your key ideas. So if you're not sure how to start, look for like the main idea. So this is really about energy. That was the focus of the lesson. So put energy in a bubble. And then go from there, use a linking arrow to the next easiest word, and always have a word and an arrow. If I see a map that doesn't have a word in between, because, I mean, just for example, if you've got no arrow here and no linking word, okay, I don't know if you're telling me that producers eat consumers or consumers eat producers down here. So, and if you have it, like, this is the thing about a concept map. It tells me instantly how much you know, or if you don't know anything. So if I see this, plant, okay, eats, carnivore, that's a problem. Okay, if I see this, plant eats carnivore, I instantly know that either A, you weren't paying attention, and if everything else looks good, or we got a problem here. Okay, I need to sit down with this person and tell them that plants don't eat like tigers. They probably know that. They just maybe didn't know what carnivore was. But plants, we don't eat anything, so I think there's a problem there. But hopefully I don't have to deal with that. All right, got about 19 minutes, not too bad. So I'm going to load this baby up on the website. I'm going to see you guys Monday. If you didn't finish this, some of you didn't, I'm going to pass yours back and say, watch my video, all right, and fill it up. All righty, study for that quiz. Well, I didn't really give anything to study with, so just be ready for the quiz. All right, do your lab. Yep.